My name is Preston Souza. As Nicole mentioned, I'm the product specialist for additive manufacturing here at igus North America, headquartered out of East Providence, Rhode Island. igus to date is a global presence as far as SLS printing is concerned. We can support 3D printed parts globally, and we have SLS print labs currently located in the US, in Europe, and also in China. On screen here is a shot of our US print lab. We're currently utilizing two Formiga P110 machines. The second one just recently been installed for further print capacity. And then also just through the glass doors on the back side there is our unpacking station where we begin processing the parts after the print job, glass bead blasting them and preparing them to release for shipment. Typical speed from order at the print service to delivery, we're ready to ship in about 2 to 3 business days, and we're working rigorously to speed that up as well. We also offer expedited shipping options as well. You can check out the delivery details also inside of the print tool. One other detail I like to make note of is igus being a full service print provider. And what I mean by that is we're not just the print service. In the main form, we're the material experts. So we actually produce our own materials, our own sintering powders, and our own filaments. Then we are the distribution and the sales of both those filaments and powders. And then, of course, lastly, what we're here to discuss today is that we can offer the service of the printing for you as well. Okay, so I'm going to transition over to igus.com, and hopefully everybody is seeing the home page. Recently made some updates to the website, so it is a bit easier to find the print service. So I guess the easiest and most visual way is you see first this 3D printing service and materials tile. If you click on that tile, right up in the top left here, there's a quick link to hop right into the 3D print service. So if you click that, you'll end up heading right into where you can upload your file. Just below that quick link, there's also a quick upload. And if you drag and drop or select a step file, you can enter it right in this area, and that will also link you directly to the print service. If you are navigating from the top menu, the second tab in under configurators, you can head on over to 3D printing and then down to 3D print service. So this is the first page, and the first step to the print service is getting that file into the tool. And there's a number of ways you can do that. One is to drag and drop. Very easy. If you have it on your desktop or it's readily available, you can just drag it in. You can also select from CAD model here. If you click this button, you can search through your files that you have available and select one from a particular folder and bring it in that way. For demo purposes and what I'm going to use today, we can load a sample model. This can also be used if you're explaining the print service to a colleague. And by loading the sample model, it will just choose a sample part to go through the process. And then lastly, and one of the most important features we have here is our CAD Creation Tool. And this, for example, is if you don't have a step file readily available for the design that you're considering. So if we click Create CAD Model for selected geometries, this is going to hop right into our CAD tool. And we can basically create step files for these various wear parts. So lead screw nuts, sliding elements, bushings, rollers, gears, and rack and pinion. So if we go into the lead screw configurator, you can choose from a handful of igus threads. example, trapezoidal threads. So if you scroll downward on the page here, you can choose flange or sleeve. You can choose right hand or left hand thread, and then the thread size, and then input your dimensions. Once that's updated, you can go up to the download drop down here and select step file. This button over on the right is to download. And then you can take and use that step file in the 3D print service. And you can follow suit for all of these different types of parts as well. Gears, this is particularly helpful for. If you have certain diameter holes for a shaft, if you need it with a keyway or square ID, whether it's a single or a double gear, your tooth modulus, the number of teeth, and then again, you can download that file and add that directly to the print service. Stay tuned for further webinars in the near future that dive into the CAD configurators in a bit more detail, as well as some webinars focused on 3D printed gears and other options that igus has to offer about gears. We exclusively work with step files in the 3D print service, and we do this to maintain quality of the file throughout the process. So at the moment, just keep that in mind, that it will only accept .stp or .step. So the second step in the print service, once you've uploaded the part, you'll get a nice visual image of the part that was uploaded. You can select a full screen view with this expanding button here. That way you can have a better look at the part design. The measurement ruler button below that will give you the dimensions and also the part volume. So we have the size, and then we have the raw component volume, and then the production volume. The first step would be to check the producibility of the part for the various production methods that we have available. So in this tool, in the top section, we have laser sintering, so SLS, and we have our 3 available materials. Just below that, in the middle section, we have FDM and all of our available filaments. And in the bottom section, we have print to mold, which is our rapid tooling, where we're 3D printing tools and then injection molding with our standard serial iGlide materials. So depending on the production method chosen, what we want to do is we want to review the producibility. So the producibility takes a look at 2 things. One, whether or not the part fits inside the production method installation space. So SLS, for example, is 170 by 220 by 320. So you'll get a green indicator if the part fits within the installation space. The second is going to be the wall thickness, and that's really one of the only limitations we have with SLS printing is a minimum 0.7 millimeter wall thickness. So you'll see here this part shows green check mark, so there's no issues. If there was an issue and you wanted to visualize the wall thickness in question, you'd see the area in concern highlighted in red. A lot of times with gears, you'll see the very tips of the toothing highlighted in red where it comes to a point. It's normally not an area of concern. It's just making you aware of the fact that it may, at the very point of some gears, be reduced down to below 0.7 millimeters. So once we know that the part can be produced successfully, again, that check is different depending on the production method. So if you're looking through, you just want to make sure you select a material from that production method to do the check. For example, print to mold will do another analyzation for things like undercuts to make sure they can be ejected from the tool. If producibility is okay, one other thing you might be interested in is the finishing of the part, which is another tab up here at the top. SLS parts are standard glass bead blasted, micron glass bead blasted after production prior to shipment, just to remove the excess powder and smooth out the finish. But of course, we can do things like dyeing black and also other colors. We can chemically smooth the parts or chemically seal the parts if they can't be porous. They need to be air and liquid tight. Perhaps they're going to be used in a pump. And then vibratory finishing or additional tumbling as well. So if any of those are of interest to you, you can check out this tab, and you can also reach out to us directly. We can quote those for you as a special request. So with each of the given production methods, we have various materials available, and each of those are suited for a multitude of applications. If you click on the more information button in the lower section of the material box, you'll basically get a quick link to the material properties for that SLS powder: mechanical, thermal, electrical, and then you'll also get into some chemical resistance of the material as well. So this is a quick, easy way to review some of the details of the material properties. I3 in general, we consider our standard SLS printing material. It is certainly the most popular within our print service, and it is great for all parts that require good wear resistance and good lifetime. Our I6 material is more specifically for worm gears, and it tests very, very well in our test lab. We also have PDF data sheets of some of the tests that we've conducted, and the wear resistance is exceptional with worm gear designs. So for general gears, you can use I3. For worm gear designs, I would stick with the I6 material. A recent addition to the SLS section is our I8 material, which is an ESD, electrostatic discharge material. It also happens to be black in color, so it lends itself better to applications that require a dark color. Under the FDM section, we have quite a bit more filament materials available to print from. We have some standards, kind of an all-arounder, our I-150, which is really easy to process, good balance of material properties and wear resistance. It also meets food contact approval. And then we have some higher wear resistant filaments, such as our I-180. And then we start to work into some specialty filaments such as chemical resistance, burn test ratings for the railway industry, the aviation industry, and then some food grade materials that meet FDA, such as our A350 filament. Just keep in mind, especially if you're looking to order filaments and print yourself, that some of these high temperature filaments do require a special high temp printer to process. And on each of the data pages for the materials on the website, we have the complete processing instructions for those. Lastly, from print to mold, you'll have a very expansive selection of materials. As you can see, there's 53 materials under the print to mold section. And basically, it's every iGlide injection molding material that igus has to offer. And that's one of the great things about the print to mold is for those lower pilot production runs or prototyping where you're not necessarily ready to invest in a serial mold. You can still order the parts with reasonable pricing in a quicker time frame from the serial material. So you can be testing the same material that would be used in the production run. Okay, so keep an eye for the check mark in the top right-hand corner of the process and the material that has been selected. So we'll stick with I3 in SLS for the demonstration. The next step after we've reviewed the material properties, made our material selection, and then also reviewed the producibility and perhaps the finishing requirements would be to look at the pricing. So you get a live feedback display of the price. If you'd like to change the quantity, it will immediately update the price. The price shown here is the total price unit for the 10 pieces. You'll see just down below that a per piece price of $2.04 each. If you're interested in the quantity discount or the price breaks associated with this particular part, you can select this blue button here, and you'll be able to see the available price breaks. You see it stopping at approximately 200 pieces. For higher volumes, I would suggest to use the request quotation or submit inquiry towards the end of the order page here. That way it'll get routed to either our inside sales teams, one of your local territory representatives, or myself, and we can review and quote accordingly to your project needs. So we're going to add this to the shopping cart using this Add to Shopping Cart button. You'll get a pop-up indicator that it's been added to the cart. You can use this to jump right to the shopping cart. If you missed this or by chance closed out on accident, there's still a shopping cart link right in the top right-hand corner of the window. If you're not quite ready to complete your order and you're interested in perhaps adding another part, you can select in this top right, Upload New Model. You can also select various parts from this drop down here. So the print service tool will recognize previous uploads that have been made to the tool, and they'll all be stored here until you choose to remove them. So you can always select from those if you've already uploaded it, or you can use the Upload New Model button. Okay, I'm going to head into the shopping cart. On this page, you'll see the important information that goes along with the order. You'll see the quantity and the price, also some shipping options. One of the most important factors here is the fact that the step file has been transmitted at this point to the 3D print service. So at any point in the stage, we don't actually have to reach out to you and request your step file separately. It's automatically transferred as part of the checkout process of the print service. Here's that inquire about button. If you have any questions at all with regards to the capabilities of the material or which material to select, or maybe the CAD design tool, really anything at all, feel free to use this inquire button here. And then you can submit an inquiry to one of our teams, and some technical assistance will be with you as soon as possible. If all looks good, you'll hit the Go to Checkout button. You'll see a request for a login. You're welcome to create a login. That would probably expedite the next process for you if you're going to be using the print service frequently. If you're not interested in a login, that's fine too. You'll see Order as Guest down below here. And this is where you're going to populate all of your order details. So the billing address, you'll need to populate all of the fields. So I've got my own personal information here for igus. Down here, you've got a drop to delivery address field. You can select this checkbox here. And if you've got a different delivery address, you can put that information in down here. We have the standard ground or express 2-day shipping options noted here. We have a multitude of shipping options available at igus. So if there's any questions about the shipping method, please feel free to reach out to our customer service department, and they'll be happy to arrange the shipping method of your choice. Again, expedited shipping options available all the way up to next day, early AM for sure. The payment method, if you already have an existing account with igus, you can select invoice. In this case, you'll be billed directly through your igus account. If you're a new customer, you'll want to select the credit card payment method. Someone from our customer service department will reach out to secure the credit card information, and from that point forward, after the initial purchase, you can decide to set up an igus account. If you do have that account number and you're using the invoice method, you can put your igus account number, if you know it, in this field down here. You can also put a purchase order number if you have one. If you have a collect shipping account number you prefer to use, you can use that as well. And then just some general comments you'd prefer to show up on the order. For example, prototype or pilot build numbers, for example. From there, you'll want to hit continue. And you get to the final review state of the process where you want to double check and make sure that the delivery and billing address is correct. Also, the part details, the material chosen, the quantity, and the pricing is also as described as well. Lastly, you will have to agree to the terms and conditions. There's a question about being included on the igus newsletter. And then there's a data protection regulation as well. So you'll have to check the appropriate boxes. And then you can select order now. Really, really easy to use, very straightforward process. Again, a multitude of ways to get into the print service from the home page, right off of the 3D printing tile. Again, quick drag and drop of your step file, or this here, use the 3D printing service, and you're right in and ready to start uploading files.